This week on The Loud Quiet, when home doesn't feel like home, empty nest kids return.
Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of The Loud Quiet. We are coming at you from the road. We haven't done one of these in a while, and we had the time because we had to fly into Phoenix to get to Tucson. We are coming out here to move Teagan out of her apartment. All of her roommates are graduating, and so she will be living solo for one semester. So we've got to transition her out of her place and put her stuff into storage for the summer.
And that's what today is about.
Yes.
It's about transition. This is transitioning just like it's been every summer. Teagan is coming home. And we've lived an empty nest life. She's lived an independent college kid life. And now she's transitioning home for the summer.
And we've had time to adapt to this. This will now be our, seventh summer of doing this with a child.
So, not a Teagan, just to be clear.
Right.
This is in our seventh year.
With a child. And so we've gotten used to it. For some of you, this may be the first summer that your child is coming home after being gone for 9 months. The winter break is so short that you barely get used to them being home. They barely get used to being home before they have to go back. It's so quick. No one can really get adjusted, and you're so busy because it's Christmas and all the activities. But summer is really that time that it is pretty much, a good 3 solid months and even a little bit more. So we just wanted to talk about how it's different. They have been living in this other place for 9 months. That has been their life, and you have had a different life for 9 months. So we just thought that we would talk about some of those things from the child's aspect and from the parent's aspect. We've talked to our kids about what they felt, and we've experienced ourselves. One thing, you want them to fall back into the role that they had when they left 9 months ago. You want them to follow the house rules that were established, but they've been making their rules.
Yeah, they've been following house rules. It's just their house rules.
Yeah,
and even the definition of house and home have started to shift in their minds.
And so one thing we have talked about before is, if it's possible, and we realize it's not always possible, but if it is, try to have those talks about expectations before they walk through the door to come home. And we get it. Sometimes that's not possible, and sometimes you don't know what to expect. We did not know what to expect that first summer that Tanner came home. And when he came home, started coming home at 2-3 o'clock in the morning, we had to say, okay, look, we are not the frat house.
Well, and I think that's one of the biggest categories when we talk about this is it's time. What are the house rhythms around time? Does the household wake up a lot earlier and get active a lot earlier than what they were accustomed to in college? Does the house, like you're describing there, shut down a lot earlier, and let's call them quiet hours kick in well before what they might have been experiencing before? Some of these, you're back in tight quarters. You're inside the same home together. And even just simple noises of living in their room, of music noises or game noises or conversation noises, can be things that are out of sync with what your house has experienced at certain times.
And you also have to realize they're not in high school anymore.
Yeah.
They are young adults. So there may need to be some modified house rules. Again, these are conversations that need to be had.
We'll take that one, for example. That one is a great example of, we didn't say, at our home, everybody is inside and locked up by midnight. No. But what we did say is, if you're out with your friends, because you are an adult and you can be out with your friends, one, be smart. If you're drinking, you Uber or have someone else drive, and come in quietly, because we are asleep. And if we are not asleep because of you coming in, that's not good.
Yes, because the parents are still working and still let's get up in the morning.
And let's flip that on its head a bit. We're earlier in our mornings than certainly a lot of college rhythms are. Well, when our kids come home for summer, we're not banging around the kitchen and having full voiced conversations like we might now, because we're respecting the fact that their beginning of a day starts later than ours. And so those are the kind of compromises and adjustments that can't be assumed will happen automatically. Instead, have those conversations around what are the time and what are the rhythms of the house.
And also going along with the role that they played. Everyone fits into a role growing up. It just happens. It's not really assigned. It just happens. Everyone assumes their role.
Yeah, for example, growing up, the kids did the dishes and they split what kind of dishes they did after a meal. Well, it would be super easy to have that exact expectations the moment the kid walks back in the door, that is their exact responsibility because that was the role that they played before. They may not have that expectation coming back. Heck, they may have spent an entire year eating in the cafeteria and never having to touch a dish.
Yes.
And that's a case of it's expectations that have to be communicated. I'm not here to say which one is the right or wrong way. Maybe you do say, hey, you're back in the house, you're going to do the dishes. Or you recognize that it's something different, but the expectations can be misaligned when the kid comes home around roles.
Well, this is where I get into, you need to have patience with them. They are being thrust back into a family unit that you have gone on functioning in the same household that they have been out of for 9 months, but you have gone along on your way and developed new routines that now they have been thrust back into. You need to have patience and give them a little bit of time with, it can't last for, okay, it's the last 2 weeks of summer and they figured it out. But you do need to let them ease back in and kind of figure out, okay, what's my new role? What's the new family rhythm? How do I fit into this?
To them, they left a home and now are coming back into it. In their minds, home froze in time. All of the evolutions that we developed as an empty nest couple, they didn't necessarily participate. Not necessarily, they didn't participate in. But their mind, their mental snapshot was frozen in time when they left the house. And that patience of they're going to have to adapt to what it is. It's just a shock to the system because it's different. And they're thinking it's coming home to the same. And that's not the case.
Yeah, I mean, the example of, we backed dinner time up a little bit. We tend to eat a little bit earlier when the kids left. We may need to shift that back a little bit when they come back for the summer, which actually we've already kind of done just because the being lighter later outside plays tricks on your mind anyways. And also, we will only have one home this summer and she works. So sometimes, yes, we move the time that we do dinner just to work out with her work schedule. But yeah, just give them a little bit of grace, especially if this is their first summer back. That is a hard transition for them. It's hard on the parents as well, but that is a really hard time. If you went to school, remember that time. Remember that first summer that you came home. It's weird. It feels weird. You have been away. You have made a completely new life. It is a strange feeling coming back that first summer. So just kind of put yourself in their shoes and give them a little bit of grace.
One thing that'll catch you off guard or caught us off guard is your kids are going to have different likes now and different dislikes too. The beauty of college or going away is they're exposed to new inputs, and there are new foods that they like, new interests that they have, new music that they enjoy, and it can be a bit surprising when your kid comes back And that food item that they never ever wanted, suddenly they're asking, hey, can we go out for?
Which, we like because
Let's
there's certain
expand.
foods that we enjoy that sometimes they said, oh no, we don't like that. And then, yes, they get exposed to it because they meet a friend that likes it at school, and peer pressure sometimes comes into play there, which is a good kind of peer pressure. And so, yes, those things are good. And yes, there may be things that
I know that we've got people listening to this that say, my kid was the biggest steak eater, loved their filet mignon, and they came home a vegetarian. And that's a case of, well, if that's who they are and that's what they're interested in, it gets into some of those deeper issues of how do you adapt to who your kid is, not who you sent them away as when they left.
And it may also just be something that they're trying for the time being. It may not be a permanent thing. Just let them tell you why they're trying it or why they're interested in this thing, and listen to them. Be supportive and listen.
That's a theme, is there's going to be so much that's different, so much that's changed, so much that's same. It is all about just taking that role of the parent of a young adult, which is more about asking questions to understand rather than issuing instructions to dictate.
Both of our kids went to schools where they knew absolutely no one.
Yeah.
No one. Not a single person from either of their schools their year went to either one of their colleges. And so they came home with a completely new crop of friends, which was great. And as the parent, you want them to still be so bonded with their hometown friends, which both of our children did stay very close to their friends. And now that's so much easier with all the social media stuff. It's so much easier for our kids to be able to do that. But these kids, they were spending 24/7 with, your kids may not be doing that as much. And, when they get home and you keep asking them, oh, have you seen so-and-so? Oh, have you seen so-and-so? They may not want to see so-and-so because they're spending their time on their phone talking or texting with their new friends that they've made back at school.
And that gets back to that definition component of what is home is so swirly in their minds. And so what is home is also what are friends. Who are friends gets so mixed up. And I remember coming back and my parents saying, oh my gosh, did you hear that? And I'm going to make up names here, y'all, so don't worry about it. But did you hear that Kelly Schmabobo was doing X, Y, and Z? And they got this major, or they're doing this activity. And I didn't care because those people, while they were a part of my high school life, really weren't a part of my life anymore. And it was jarring for my parents to see that. It was also kind of annoying to me to keep getting fed with information about people that, not for any good or bad reason, just I didn't have any interest in anymore. And it can be an easy thing for a parent to do, to continue to overwhelm your kid with updates about the families and the relationships that they had while they were here before they left, and they may just simply not care anymore.
And don't be surprised too if your child says, oh, I want to fly to whatever state to visit my new friend that I met at school. Both of our kids did that. Or their friends came to Texas to visit them over the summer, which we were very happy to host. So, there's just going to be those new friendships that they make. And you guys remember that if you went to school, you bond so fast with people, because especially that freshman year when you're in the dorm and you're living in such close quarters with people, you really do.
There's definitely some college trauma bonding, right?
Yes, for sure.
There's that, oh my gosh, I'm by myself, I'm all
Yeah.
alone. Classes are harder than anything I experienced in high school. And you develop those relationships as you all go through that fire
I mean,
together.
they become your family.
Yeah.
I mean, those are the people that you lean on. And especially it was so different for us because we couldn't talk to our parents every day. Our kids can talk to us every day if they want to. They have that option. We couldn't do that. So those really did become your friends who became your family. For those of you who have kids that are, not freshmen, this may not be the first year that they're coming home. They may not come home for the summer.
There may not be the transition.
And
it's the untransition.
And you may get that little dagger in your heart when they say, oh, I want to stay here this summer.
Oh.
I found a job.
Can I change that phrasing? Oh, I want to stay home.
Well, I wasn't gonna say stay home. It's when they say I want to go back home. Because I don't know that they would say I want to stay home this summer. They'd say I want to stay here. But I have heard them say I'm ready to go back home.
Yeah.
That's when the dagger hits. But when they say I want to stay here, you have to just take a deep breath. And because the apartments usually run through the summer, so they usually have lodging, and if they're taking summer classes or if they have secured employment out there, sometimes that's a better option for them. It's not always what we want, but sometimes that's what happens.
We're sitting here talking about when your kid comes home, it makes a transition for you. Well, what if they stay out there? Well, you don't have to change your empty nest rhythm quite as much. So there's a positive to it as well.
Yes. And you're already paying that rent, so they might as well just stay there.
Absolutely.
Yeah. It is one thing that is kind of a bummer about college apartments, that the way they run those leases kind of stinks, but oh well. So
End rant.
I will just say, if this is your first summer that they are coming home, enjoy it. Listen to their stories. They're going to want to tell you about everything they've done, even though they've already told you, I'm sure, in the multiple phone calls that you've had this summer or over the year, or when you've gone to visit them. Names are going to come up that you haven't heard, or ones that you have heard, of people that maybe you have met or that you haven't met. You're going to probably hear some stories that you haven't heard, and just enjoy the stories. It may throw you back into times that, you fondly remember being in college. Also, share the things that you've been doing. They want to know that you're having a good time too while they're off living their best life.
And I think that's something that I know I had to learn, that it's just because of kind of the family hierarchy aspect of it, right? You've got the parent-child relationship and the dynamic that's there. Sometimes kids, I don't want to use the phrase aren't comfortable with, but just aren't in the habit of asking how things are with their parents. And by starting to tell them your stories, solicited or unsolicited, until their eyes glaze over, stop when you need to stop, it starts to almost change or let that relationship dynamic evolve to what it's going to be in the future, where you'll never be peers, but you will be kind of on different footing with each other, to where they will be asking, hey, what's going on in your world, Mom? Hey, what's going on in your world, Dad? And they're not going to have those muscles built at the beginning. So offering up the stories without being asked can help build that skill in them.
And I think just creating the home environment as a safe place, that they always know they have a safe landing place to always come back to. They will have a supportive set of parents, supportive siblings, just a good environment to come home to. You know, as we establish the home as their safe landing place, their return to the known home, their origin of routine, you'll strengthen the family bonds at the same time you're helping them launch into their own independent future.
Which is really what we want.
Yeah.
All right, y'all. Those are the transition things that we've experienced. Those are the transition things that we've known. You know, a lot of our transition stories have actually been put into the book that has come out, The Loud, Quiet, Love, Laughter, and Life in the Empty Nest. Y'all can grab a copy of it on Amazon, and we're excited to announce there's a series of free bonuses to anyone who purchases the book. Head over to theloudquiet.com and you'll get all the information about the book and about the free bonuses associated with it. And if you've already bought the book, you can still get those free bonuses as well.
Yes, so thanks guys for joining us on another episode of The Loud Quiet.